boys and girls, today we're doing middleweight motorcycles tier list. These are the naked bikes in the category, everything from 600 to 990 cc's. It's the wild west of middleweight motorcycles. There's a lot of bikes in this category, huh, Logan?
Ton of bikes. We made sure to do our due diligence during pre-production for this episode. Make sure every bike gets the respect it deserves. And what do you say we get into it?
Yeah, let's start off with the largest of the bunch, why don't we? The Duke 990. This is a motorcycle that has been a little bit on the ropes lately. They're not making them in Austria right now.
Yeah.
It's the largest motorcycle in the category. Some would say it's not even really a middleweight motorcycle. What makes this bike cool, Logan?
I mean, KTMs are cool in their own way, right? Like they're very much catering to their target audience. But if you're that target audience, this bike's a ripper, right? It's like 125 horsepower, light, nimble. They call it the Sniper.
Yeah.
Kind of, this aggro branding they do. And I think it finds itself in the middleweight category despite its engorged displacement, because it is sort of the current evolution of like the 790 platform, right? 790, 890, 990. But there's the KTM, elephant in the room, big orange elephant in the room of reliability, parts availability, the longevity of the company. So that, maybe weighs a little bit on our ranking.
Yeah, so for today's ranking in the tier, we're gonna put it C+. That's where this motorcycle is going to sit. We thought that was pretty fair. There's many bikes in this category that are much better, some are much worse. This one kind of sitting in that C+, edging its way up. It's not the greatest thing because of the reliability concerns. We know it's a ton of fun to ride, but let's move on. Next up is the Z900, featuring a 948cc inline four. It's the second largest bike we're talking about today, and this is a controversial one, Logan. I think it's got power, refinement, and Sugomi styling. It's Sugomiing all over the place. Oh my God, it's this bionicle looking ass.
The Sugomi aura is off the charts. It's been aura farming since 20, whenever this bike came out. So
yeah.
If you're well acquainted with the channel, you probably know Poppy Am's attitude towards the Z900, and it's a sentiment I also share. If I'm looking for a naked bike, a hyper naked bike, whatever, probably not gonna gravitate towards the inline four. Sans an MT-07, but it's a little heavy, it's a little kind of polarizing in its looks, right, we'd say?
Yeah.
That's not to say it's a bad bike, right? That's something you'll learn in this video today. There are a lot of really, really awesome bikes in the category, so you just kind of nitpick maybe a little bit more than other categories. So what are you thinking for the Z900?
I'm thinking the Z900 is gonna fit in the D tier.
Yeah.
I think that was a hard call to make, but unfortunately, when you look at all the other bikes in this tier, it's just not really up to snuff. So Logan, go ahead and place it on that D tier right over there. It's the type of motorcycle that, yeah, it's got a lot of power, it's got a big old motor, but that's about all it really has going for it. It's very heavy, it's very old school in the way it delivers its power and the way it goes down the road. And the few times that I've ridden a Z900, I've never really walked away thinking, wow, that's a bike I really can't wait to ride again. So it does find its way in the D tier today.
Tough but fair.
Tough but fair, that's right. Unless you're a Z900 owner, then you're like, I hate you. Just do it. Why do I watch this guy?
If they're Z900, yeah, no, they're like, why am I doing this to myself again? All right, what's up next?
All right, boys, the next largest bike is an 890cc. It's the Streetfighter V2S. Now, this is based on the Panigale V2S. It's functionally the same. It's just a little bit lighter, handlebars, stripped down fairings, brand new engine, brand new platform, brand new chassis. And Logan, Ducati they don't play around.
They don't play around.
Holy crap, they make some good bikes.
They make some good bikes. It's almost like they've been winning races and doing really cool stuff for the better part of 30 years. So it stands to reason they're making some of the most exciting bikes in kind of every category right now. And Streetfighter definitely ranks pretty high on our tier today.
Yeah, the Panigale V2S, it's lightweight, it's fun, it's peppy. The Streetfighter V2S largely presents in the same way. Big, punchy V-twin motor, brand new design, spring valves, now 120 horsepower. It is a spicy price tag, 18,000 bucks for this thing. But Logan, we're calling it, it's an S tier bike.
It's an S tier bike.
It's an S tier bike, folks. And this motorcycle, it just, go ahead and stretch it out there, Logan. There you go.
Got it.
This bike's awesome, man. If you've ridden the new Ducati products, they're incredible. They're a ton of fun to ride, and they look really cool. They got a premium X factor to them. I think that if you're looking at a middleweight naked motorcycle, you can't do much better than a Streetfighter V2S.
Definitely. I mean, yeah, very premium feel, very easy to get along with too. Like it's kind of, yeah, this new generation of Panigale and Street Fighter. It's very much like they kind of ride themselves, right? Like for 120 horsepower, ergonomics are comfortable, engine's super linear and predictive.
So nice to live with, so nice to get along with.
Yeah, and it looks great, and it's got that premium factor. Yeah, just a great bike, kind of hard to do wrong with a middleweight naked bike, I think.
Yeah, I think the only place we maybe would dock it, and maybe it would end up in an A tier for you, it's maybe not the most useful motorcycle. If you get it in S configuration, you don't get passenger pegs, you don't get the rear seat, but come on, if you're buying a Ducati Street Fighter, you're not really looking to put on luggage and passengers and I mean, you just want a cool, fun bike that you can tool around with.
Absolutely.
Next bike for our tier list is a lovable motorcycle. Talked about it a bunch. MT-09 SP with an 890cc, working our way from top to bottom for the size of engines. We've heaped a ton of praise about this motorcycle, Logan. It's one of my favorites, bang for buck. It's really cool, it makes the right sounds, just almost perfectly executed.
Yeah, you could almost argue we had to talk ourselves out of putting it just in the S tier, you know? It's kind of, in a lot of ways, a perfect package for a middleweight, intermediate plus motorcycle. But where does it find itself in the tier today?
In today's tier, we put it as A. We actually did not put this motorcycle as S tier. And the reason we didn't was because we felt that the S tier was reserved for bikes that had it all. They had the performance, the panache, the cool factor. We weren't really thinking about price as much today. We're just looking at how cool the bikes is. And the MT-09 SP, the more I thought about it, the more I thought to myself, yes, it's a perfectly executed bike, but it is missing a final bit of X factor. It does everything really perfectly, and it does have character and charm from that 3-cylinder motor, but I just feel like it's missing that last thing, whatever that is.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, it does everything you ask of it. Super well made, super reliable, proven platform. For me, it's sort of, like the dark side of Japan kind of angle is like a little, you know, it's had its moment in the sun, but like it's not particularly exciting or in like an emotional way. Like it doesn't really have totally the look back factor that someone like myself would look for in a motorcycle. But by and large, you know, kind of perfect machine on paper or from the saddle, maybe just not in the heart.
Go ahead and put it up there on YouTube for us, Logan. Yeah, I think the MT-09 SP, much like Logan said, I've gotten this close to buying one so many times, but then I end up looking at it either in person or in photos, and I just think, I don't have that emotional, visceral connection to it. It ends up feeling like just a great machine that can do everything, but doesn't have that special quality. Next up is the 800NK with its 799cc parallel twin motor making 100 horsepower. Logan, where do you think this bike finds its way on the list today?
C for Chinese.
Moving on. All right, the next bike for our tier ranking, whatever you want to call it today, is the GSX-8S, featuring a 776cc parallel twin from Suzuki. New platform, making about 80-something horsepower.
Yeah, 82.
Correctly, 82,
I think. Yeah.
And then a great amount of torque. This is a really well-executed package from Suzuki, and there's not a whole lot you can fault this motorcycle for.
Definitely. I mean, this sort of beginner plus intermediate junior angle of middleweight Japanese motorcycles, the GSX-8S, the MT-07, the Honda Hornet, like, are all very, very good. They provide a ton of value. But again, we're not necessarily talking value or price today. We're talking about just the motorcycles in a vacuum. How cool are they? How exciting are they? How much fun are they to ride? How much fun are they to go fast on, rip around some twisties? And bearing all that in mind, GSX, great bike, but maybe not the most exciting or performance oriented.
No, I think very much nowadays that the Japanese have settled, in my opinion, on the new generation UJM, seemingly as a 700-ish cc parallel twin with a 270 crank. We're just waiting on Kawasaki to make their own version of it, and we literally have all big four making something like this. And so it doesn't present as very unique. It certainly feels like a, oh, me too motorcycle at the last minute that Suzuki made. Yamaha's kind of defined this category for the last 10 years. So this falls firmly in the B category for us. Like Logan said, that doesn't mean it's a bad motorcycle. That means actually it's a great bike. Value driven, great engine, does what you need it to do. But if you were being honest with yourself, if you ride other bikes in the middleweight category, you'd probably be like, well, these are, yeah, a little more exciting. Moving right along is a motorcycle that you're probably gonna guess is gonna rank pretty darn high today. It's Triumph's venerable Street Triple RS, the 765, the new generation. This is a great motorcycle, Logan. There is no doubt about that. It's got the Daytona frame. It's got a screaming 3-cylinder. It's got the crazy funky bug eyes that are a little polarizing, but I think give it a lot of character and charm. What do you make of this bike?
I think it's a really cool bike too. I mean, compared to some, the Japanese offerings, like I'm more attracted to this. I think the 3-cylinder engine. I love the kind of crazy colors you can get it in. You know,
the one we had with the cosmic yellow was awesome.
Yeah,
it looked so cool in person.
I would have loved the opportunity to have one, but I was living a different life at that time.
Yes.
And then obviously like Moto 2 engine derivation. There's a ton to love with this motorcycle for sure. And yeah, maybe a little bit more exciting or have more of an emotional appeal than some of the Japanese alternatives, just kind of from that 3-cylinder, that British heritage. So yeah, I think it ranks pretty high, but again, how high?
Yeah.
Lay it on me.
You guys are probably thinking it's either A or S tier, right? And I might shock you because I am a Triumph fanboy, but we're rating this one in A today. We found that this motorcycle finds its way, there you go, finds its way in the A ranking, mostly because to me, I just had one of these earlier this year. It performs very well on track. It performs very well as a road bike. But the technology suite gets in the way of this motorcycle so much. The dash is so slow to load and it feels so last generation. The joystick is awkward to use. There is some frustration with this motorcycle that belies its kind of like, you know, cool fun factor, like exotic type of motorcycle. It's exotic in a way that you wouldn't want for that reason. It kind of feels like old Italian cars. If you drove them, you're like, oh, it's kind of quirky and weird in how it does stuff. It really needs that last bit of polish in that department specifically for me to rank it an S motorcycle.
Astute.
Thank you.
Astute and fair.
I think so. But again, because it's an A, it's really good. It's a really awesome motorcycle. I would happily have one. And again, I've often gone back and forth. MT-09 SP, Streetfighter, maybe Street Triple, I don't know. And it's like kind of all living in the same ballpark. All right, new kid on the block, the Hornet 750, one of the darlings of the new middleweight naked category, extremely value driven, great engine, peppy and fun. You had a ton of fun with this one, right?
Ton of fun, yeah. Super fun bike, feels pretty premium, like a premium Honda product for how cheap it is. Super agreeable, very playful, youthful, kind of, you know, brings you out of your shell a little bit to maybe push a little bit harder, very forgiving in that way. Compared to the MT-07, it's got a little bit more tech, a little bit bigger engine. Compared to the GSX-8S, it's not a Suzuki, so it has that going for it.
Suzuki people are just, they've had it with us, Logan. They've just had it.
Yeah, but all that being said, you know, like we said about the 8S, compared to so many of the other bikes in this category, it's not the most exciting thing. It's not the most enthralling motorcycle with like a strong emotional appeal, strong excitement or exotic factor to it.
Yeah, it has a motor that is very similar to the 8S. It is a little bit like spicier and different. I actually think Honda's engine is the best executed in this category. And I like the tech, I like the features, I like the price, but again, if you ride some of the other middleweight naked category bikes here, you're gonna walk away with a bigger impression. So this one we actually rated a B+. It's better than the 8S, we think, over the Suzuki. We're gonna get into the Yamaha later as well today. And we just found that the Hornet 750 is a great motorcycle, edging its way up to the A tier, and honestly, bang for buck, might be the best bike in this whole bunch, to be honest. All right, speaking of which, the venerable Yamaha MT-07. Logan, a motorcycle that people think I have some sort of like unreasonable infatuation with. I see this very often. I think in some of our...
paid by Yamaha, right?
Don't tell people,
dude. Sorry, Josh, cut that.
Josh, cut that, dude. Yeah, people love to believe that I'm on Yamaha's payroll, but unfortunately, these are just my own opinions. And the MT-07 is a great motorcycle. It defined the category that it's in. But, you know, upon further inspection, and if you go back in my MT-07 videos, I have been saying this, it's kind of getting long in the tooth. You know, these bikes that we're talking about, the 8S and the Hornet, they've either got bigger engines, better tech, better price, or all three in the case of the Hornet. So we had to rank the MT-07 today actually as a B tier motorcycle. So it doesn't come with a quick shifter. The new switch cluster for the left-hand side is a little awkward. The TFT kind of feels a little bit too late. And the 689cc motor, it's still great. Hasn't been touched since like 2013. So honestly, we talked about this before we started making it. It's kind of starting to feel like a bit of a Suzuki move, honestly.
Yeah, I couldn't have said it better myself. I think compared to the category, just getting a little bit outpaced in certain areas. Obviously, great bike. I think any person of a certain riding style, riding experience would be hard pressed to have a bad time on that motorcycle. I think the B tier is a fair judgment.
Yeah, and the one thing I wanted to point out that is cool about the MT-07 is it is bulletproof reliable. That motor, I don't know how Yamaha built it the way they built it. I've never seen anyone have any issues with the CP2 motor ever. But if that's your bag, I highly recommend it. But it is hard to say that it is better than the Hornet 750 in any way. And the 8S does have a bigger motor, and it kind of exists in that B tier of like really solid, fun, you know, kind of beginner plus intermediate kind of middleweight motorcycles. Next up is the Aprilia Tuono 660 factory with its 660cc parallel twin making 105 horsepower, Logan. That's a lot of punch out of a relatively small motor.
Yeah, it's like as we're getting smaller in displacement, but this one's punching pretty high.
Yeah.
Pretty above its contemporaries in terms of power output. Maybe punching above its weight class in some other ways too.
Yeah, it's got Olin suspension front and rear. Aprilia is releasing now the factory edition for the Tuono. There's a lot to love with this motorcycle. It's lightweight, it's peppy, it feels exotic. The parallel twin in this is super different from the stuff you're gonna find in the B tier category. It revs out to like 11,000 RPM, I think 11.5 maybe, which is way higher than the stuff we're talking about in the middle. Great suite of electronics, really nice feeling, lightweight motorcycle. Man, Logan, this one's kind of sounding pretty good to me, I gotta say.
Good?
Yeah.
Is it sounding S tier good?
I think so.
Think so?
I think this is an S tier motorcycle. Yeah, I think we got to put it up there. I had to make this call. We were in the pre-production part of this episode, and I thought to myself, people only think that I put Yamahas in the S tier, and I actually really, really like this motorcycle. I recently rode and reviewed the RS660 factory, and honestly, having all of that, but with the handlebar that's a little more comfortable, dude, game over. Like, that's such a sweet bike.
And I think a bike at that price point with that much power and, you know, such high quality suspension, braking components, and tech, it's like everything you want and nothing you don't.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like you don't need to baby a 200 horsepower V4 on the street, but you get all the fun, excitement, good sound, good character, you know, that Italian je ne sais quoi, which is an ironic statement because I think je ne sais quoi is French, but you get what I'm saying. I'm from Michigan, I don't know anything.
Yeah, so you got aluminum twin spar frame, Olin's front and rear, a great zesty exhaust note. Yeah, I think this bike's just a knockout hit. We certainly want to rate it an S for today's video. Moving right along, it's Honda's CB650R, a motorcycle that may end up on the chopping block. I'm not sure because Honda's making the Hornet 750, and I guess they also make the CB650R. They're extremely close in price and displacement and power. We'll see if they keep making it. For now, they do. Logan, this is a bit of an old school kind of motorcycle. Yeah. Japanese inline four.
Yeah, certainly old school kind of, harkens back to that UJM era, which ironically we're sort of coming back into now with these parallel twins. But even when I was out in Sacramento for the Honda event for the new Hornets, they had tons of different specs and specificities on how much sportier and performance oriented and just modern the CB750 Hornet is to the CB650R.
That's really interesting that they put that out there.
Yeah, like they were very open and honest about just being like, that bike is kind of a previous generation and we're really doing a bunch to make the new platform sportier, more fun, better handling, all that sort of stuff. So with that so fresh in my mind, like the CB650 really feels like a bike that's maybe 10 years out of fashion.
Yeah, and so it doesn't have quick shift up and down. It does have the e-clutch system, which is pretty novel. I tested it pretty extensively in the CBR 650R configuration, and it was very unique, but it doesn't really do anything beyond what a quick shifter up and down would do, except for that stop and go sort of stuff. The inline four is a cool soundtrack, but it's not really anything new or exciting. As Logan said, it is a little heavier and it is not quite as sporty in its delivery. It's got that kind of older inline four feel, older platform. It is a beautiful motorcycle, we have to admit that, but I think for today's video, we're gonna list it in the C tier. So it's gonna live with the Duke 990 and 800 NK. Great motorcycles, but ultimately I think you could do a little bit better in stuff that's a little bit more exciting or interesting or just newer or more fun to ride. Next bike is one that you guys have been talking a lot about in the comments, saying that I haven't been fair to it. It's the Triumph Trident 660. This motorcycle came out specifically to come after the throne of the MT-07 back in 2021, and honestly, Triumph did a really good job out of the gate. This motorcycle, Logan, it's got a 3-cylinder motor, it's been updated with a bunch of cool tech, and the one thing it has over the Hornet, the GSX, and the MT-07, it looks classic, it looks beautiful, and it has tons of color options.
For sure, I think it, obviously makes sense coming from Triumph too, but it really kind of blends the fun usability of these lower middleweight beginner plus type roadster bikes with the classic style and charm of what you'd expect from Triumph. Not everyone wants to be riding around on like a Bionicle cyborg looking thing,
Yeah, not everyone wants to be on a Z900, okay? Some of us want bikes that are actually nice to look at.
Sure.
I said owning a Touareg, which is not a nice bike to look at, but that's okay.
In a different way.
In a different way.
And like you said, we were looking at the Trident earlier during pre-production, and it does have some new updates, which is really cool. Cruise control, quick shifter, things like that.
Cornering ABS,
ABS, yeah. But still at a very good price. Again, we're trying to be objective about price, but it's hard to not let that weigh in a little bit.
Yeah, so we think the Trident 660 fits similar like the Hornet 750. It's a kind of B+ motorcycle. It fits in the pantheon of like the MT-07s, the GSX, and the Hornets, but it's got some extra things to it. Not only there's that extra 1-cylinder, but quick shifter up and down, the extra tech, and the cool paint jobs. I think of all those motorcycles, I'd probably do a toss-up between the Trident 660 and the Hornet 750. Ugh. And last, and certainly least, in all capacities and respects, Kawasaki people, turn off the video right now. It's the Z650. This motorcycle...
Wait, hold the phone. Did you not get the mess? It's Z650.
Oh, of course.
We've been pronouncing it wrong this whole time.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, never mind the fact that Americans just say Z. But anyways, the Z650, Kawasaki's middleweight naked motorcycle, Logan. They make two of them, the Z900 and the Z650. And because it fits in this category with the MT-07, the GSX, and the Hornets, we do have to rank it. This bike doesn't really, to me, do anything that a Z500 doesn't do. I look at this bike as a relic of a bygone time. All the competition has moved on. I legitimately don't think there is any reason to buy this motorcycle. I'll just say that.
Yeah, and I'll say the Z650 and the Ninja 650 respectively are kind of like the husky version of like a Z500. Husky not meaning Husqvarna, but husky meaning larger. Like the people I feel like that gravitate towards these bikes are beginner riders, but they're bigger, 6'4", 6'5", and they don't want to be on this diminutive little 500. So like, I'll get the 650. That's very much what it feels like. It doesn't have the same beginner plus intermediate vibe that like the MT-07 or GSX-8S has. That's like fun, exciting, novel, interesting experience. It's kind of a commuter bike with an extra 20 horsepower,
Yeah, if that. Like. I think this motorcycle makes right around 65 horsepower, so it's even down on power of the MT-07s. It features a 180-degree parallel twin, which, to be honest, in today's market is a novelty in kind of a bad way. Like there's really not that many of those around still. In this category especially too, like none of the parallel twins we talked about today have that 180 crank, and it's a big deal. It makes it feel very lawnmower-y, very pedestrian, very commuter. We unfortunately did rank this one as an F tier today. So we did want to save the most negative for last. It is the smallest engine, it is the least characterful, it is the least exciting to ride. And I would really, before you get onto me about the Z650, I would ask for you to consider, out of any of the motorcycles we mentioned today, would you legitimately rank any of them below the Z650? You have to be honest with yourself, you can't.
Yeah, it's definitely a bike that somebody somewhere can and get some use out of. They sell tons of them, but it's not really a bike anyone's gonna fall in love with. It's gonna wanna hold on to for years and years. It's not a bike you're gonna wanna pass on to your kids or whatever. You use it for a couple years, sell it to some other guy that'll use it for a couple. It's just kind of a disposable, middleweight, naked motorcycle.
Yeah, middleweight in quotations is a great way to put it, because we really think of this more as a, like Logan said, a beginner bike that someone who's a bit larger would wanna get onto, maybe doesn't wanna do the 500, needs something a little bit more ample. Found its way on the middleweight tier list today just because of its displacement in its category, but you can't really think of this motorcycle as a middleweight bike, to be honest.
Yeah, weaseled its way in.
Yeah.
And it's been punished for it.
Well, boys, that wraps up today's tier list. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Hopefully you don't think I'm just a Yamaha apologist on the payroll, but I don't think I can really get away from that perspective.
No, I mean, I've seen the pay stubs.
Thanks for watching, boys. Tune in to the next one. If you want to check out another ranked video, click it right over here. We ranked some other motorcycles, had some fun, and talked about it. And enjoy the show. Leave a comment down below and join up as a member on YamaNoob.co. We'll catch you in the next one. See you later.